Well, hey everyone, and welcome to That Fallout Show, episode 17. Don't let the Cazador hit you with a good lord split you. I'm Rick McVick, and with us tonight, as always, is Shalene.
Hello, hello.
I don't know why I say your voice every time in a spooky way.
I don't know, you always do. It's fine.
Should I change it up every episode?
Well, you could do the weird German accent.
Welcome to That Fallout Show. I'm Rick McVick, and with us tonight is Shalene.
That's much worse.
Tonight, Vendor is absent. He's somewhere in the Americas, probably kidnapped by now since he's Canadian.
I think he's sitting under a palm tree drinking something fabulous out of a coconut.
I'll bet you he's listening to Maybe You'll Think of Me. You're right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a show for you. Actually, the lore has been simmering for 3 episodes now because I wrote this lore bit and it keeps getting pushed. So tonight, finally, the debut of the Cazador lore. And we were kind of reminiscing a little bit before the show of how much we just hate those stupid Cazadors.
They're the worst. They're the worst. Cazadors are the reason why I don't like to play on hardcore.
It's why I love playing on hardcore, but man, we're going to talk more about why we hate those things and why you should hate them too. Anyway, also on this show... Oh, wait, I'm skipping some bits. I didn't even have the show notes up. It's like I was totally unprepared. But...
Us? Unprepared?
I know, right?
I'm shocked.
Yeah, it doesn't help that my computer's not acting the way it should. Anyway.
It's very off-brand for us to be unprepared.
I know. If I had like a stack of blank papers, I'd shuffle them like I was rearranging my show notes, but they're all digital. Anyway, tonight, you can help the show by sharing us on your social media. You can send us some emails. We actually have a backlog of That Fallout Show emails. But keep them coming. We love it. You can like, subscribe, and retweet. You can like, subscribe, and retweet.
Rick.exe has stopped working.
And all of our things. Tell your friends about us. Host us on Switch, etc., etc., etc. Okay, on tonight's show, we've got some news, including patches that we do need. Some other crazy stuff has happened and some mystery items. Also, we have a recap of the challenge and hopefully a new challenge that we'll think up on the fly. Then we get to the lore. Unless, did you come up with one?
I have one, yeah.
Oh, good. Lore, which is all about Cazadors, and a weapon of the week, which is an underdog weapon, if you ask me, that we're going to get to. And unfortunately, I didn't use that lead-in for the Cyberdog gun, which would have been
so
great.
Much better.
And then we get to some emails. But some 5-star review shout-outs first. Shalene, take it away, because these look complicated.
So we love it when you leave us 5-star reviews on iTunes. It really helps the show. It helps us be more visible when people search for Fallout podcasts, helps our audience grow. And we would like to thank you on the air for leaving us a 5-star review. So from the USA, we have Biddle, Do You Play a Fiddle? Biker from Mass, and Gristle421. Thank you.
Awesome. And how can they be shouted out on the show?
Well, you just go to your Apple Podcasts app on your phone or to iTunes on your computer and leave us a 5-star review. Click the 5th star, and you have to leave a text review. If you just leave a rating, like, we appreciate that and it helps, but we don't get to see your name unless you leave a text review. So
we should write a bit where it's like, and the Lord said, "Thou shalt click the 5th star, not the 4th or the 6th, but travel right to the 5th."
Not the 4th, unless that thou proceedest to 5.
I was so mad. I made the best Monty Python reference today at the guitar shop, and everyone missed it. We were arranging guitar pedals in a glass case, and I was standing there with my buddy, and I was like, well, what we could do, and we're trying to figure out how to, like, display all the petals because they were too long to fit in the case. So I was like, or not too long, but there were too many to fit in one row in the case. And I was like, well, what we'll do is we'll put a row in the front on, we'll set them on the boxes, and then we'll put the double box, we'll put the boxes in the back and then set another row of boxes on it with the petals on top. So it creates a nice little like step 2-layer effect. And what we'll do is then we'll get a couple little shrubberies with the path running down the middle. And he just like completely glazed over and like missed that. And I was like, gosh, it was so smooth.
The shrubberies.
Gosh, 2 little shrubberies with the path running down the middle. So, but guess what? It's time. It not only is it time for a great show, but it's also time for the news. What happened in the world of Fallout, Shalene?
Okay, I'm just wondering. I'm just here wondering how many people out there have never played Fallout New Vegas and hence have no idea who Mr. New Vegas is.
I don't know.
That it's possible that this bumper plays and everybody's like, where did they get this? They must have made it. Like,
if you like news, you're gonna love our next segment.
Why does it sound like Wayne Newton? How'd they get Wayne Newton to record their bumpers?
Wayne's my uncle. Uncle Wayne. Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayne.
He waxes all the time about doing this voiceover.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm proud of that one.
Oh, man, that was a good one. It was a good one.
I felt intelligent. I felt like I should be writing for the New Yorker for a split second.
So, inside the vault, the most recent one was released. These are the weekly news updates that Bethesda has been releasing regarding Fallout 76. And I'm just delaying here because it's titled Fashion
Fascist nut? No. Fosnut.
Fosnut.
Can
I just didn't want
you
to pronounce it.
You can't pronounce Fosnut from Fasnacht?
I mean, that doesn't even, there's too many consonants in this
Fosnut?
word.
You got a problem with Dutch derived words?
I have a problem with pronouncing them, that's for darn sure. So, Fosnut seasonal event and patch 7 preview.
How does it feel to be me?
Not good. Not
False
good.
nut, passionate. That's what people are putting in the chat. I can't believe. I mean, maybe the Pennsylvanians or the people who've derived from like a Dutch community would understand what that is, but I guess you guys wouldn't. I mean, well, you're not. Your area is not necessarily known for its Dutch population.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, this would be like expecting you to be familiar with the burning of Zozobra or something.
Nope, no idea.
See? You got nothing, right?
Nothing.
So yeah, that's that seasonal local regional events show.
Well, it also corresponds with Fat Tuesday, which I'm pretty sure is Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sure, yeah.
So
Ghost in chat's like, what nut? the fast nut?
So we're talking about the seasonal event. And I'm just going to read a little snippet of this. Each year, since the founding of Helvetia in 1869, the townsfolk celebrated Fastnacht by donning fantastic masks and parading through the decorated town. The festivities culminated by burning an effigy of Old Man Winter on the bonfire to signal the end of winter. The townsfolk may be long gone, but dutiful bots have kept the party rolling every year, and they welcome your participation. So,
those bots look terrifying, man.
They do, right? And there are these masks. I believe they're going to be obtainable by the player. This terrifying jester mask. These
they're all terrible.
Masks. They're very terrifying. Yeah. See, look, here they are worn by players. Down here.
Yeesh.
Gosh, these are just horrifying giant masks. So the parade is going to be a repeatable limited time event quest available for 1 week starting on March the 19th. And if you want to participate, you speak with the Master of Ceremonies in Helvetia, and then you do the quest. It'll be great. You have to help out some Protectrons. They march in the parade, and there's definitely going to be some shenanigans going down as you have to defend these robots and help the parade be a success. So you can earn the masks by completing this event, which is pretty cool.
I've played plenty of games with seasonal or, events like this. And it's so weird to see a Fallout version of this,
Yeah, it really is. I don't like that it's a limited time thing. Like, I part of me thinks it's cool, but what if I'm really busy the week of March 19th?
Well, it's the same. It's the same concept with Destiny too. They have seasonal events and Guild Wars 2. It's an MMO thing. It's an online game thing, and it's still. It just shows that we're old and resistant to change.
It does.
Sucks, doesn't it?
I'm such a crotchety old person inside. I just like.
I did that today. I was looking at something on Twitter, and my first thought was, everyone's too freaking sensitive these days. And I was like, God, I sound old. I'm just like, buck up, you young.
Yeah. Get off my lawn, you darn kid.
I don't know what it is. It's just like, but I don't know. I think this is pretty cool. I'm really curious to see, because is this their first seasonal event?
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's going to be interesting to see how it works or doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I don't know. I think we should do it together. We should go as a trio and participate in the parade and wear terrifying masks.
We do need to wear some terrifying masks. But yeah, this will be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I hope.
This Inside the Vault article also talks about the upcoming patch 7, which is geared to drop next week. And this will include the brewing and distilling crafting system and quests that we've talked about previously.
Beer.
And they are changing the balance of energy and heavy weapons to increase the durability so that they're not going to wear out quite as quickly. There will be some... Pardon?
That's good.
It is. There will be some camp and workshop budget adjustments. They're going to make some things cost a little bit less in your camp workshop budget. So
good.
To have a little bit more things. And my favorite part of this upcoming patch is challenge tracking. They're going to make it easier to keep track of your challenges and your challenge progress. It says, we're adding new challenge tracking interface to the map, which you can use to quickly access the challenges menu whenever you'd like. As you scroll through your available challenges, you can now select and add them to the tracker, which will update as you make progress toward completing each one. Additionally, you will also receive a notification in-game whenever you make progress toward one of the challenges you've added to the tracker. And I love that kind of thing. Just love it. So, looking forward to that.
That's good. That's very good. I mean, one of the nice things about Destiny is when they added that sort of thing and you hit tab and it brings up what you're currently working on, and because they can get kind of cumbersome when you have 5 different challenges and you have to keep going through a menu system to figure out what in the world they were.
Well, Rick, I've played about 50 hours of Destiny and I had no idea that was a thing.
That's not surprising. Do you want to tell the audience what else you realized after we beat the main story, the main game of Destiny 2? You want to tell the people what you finally noticed?
Okay, guys. So I get lost a lot in video games. I don't know if you knew this about me. I'm always lost. I'm a bad navigator, both in games and IRL. And I'm always lost. And I'm like, Rick, where are you? And he's jumping up and down, shooting things, trying to get my attention.
Flares.
I'm over here. And then so I find him. I'm like, Rick, where are you? I find him. I'm like, geez, it would be so much easier. I don't understand why this game doesn't have a mini map. And Rick said, it does have a mini map in the top left corner of your screen. And I looked up and sure enough, there it was. The Destiny 2 mini map. There it had been all along.
Yep.
And now I can use it, and I can find Rick, and I can find the quest objective all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I'm just such a moron. I'm so dumb. Like I'm too smart to be this stupid. I don't know.
I think you're just overconfident. You know, that's what it is. You're like, I am so smart that I just know what I'm doing, minus direction. And you live in a place where like you can't even use like anything as a direction marker. You're like, well, just they're turned by the sand dune left.
By the sand dune?
I don't know. When I think of where you live, I just think of like desert tumbleweed skeletons in the, you know, dead cow or something.
Turned by the skeleton.
Yeah, what you go down there and do is you turn. Well, that's not right. That's not how they sound down there.
There are plenty of people who sound like that.
There you go. You go down there, turn by Longhorn Skull, left.
Yeah, actually, the way that we navigate is by where people lived 100 years ago. No property is named by its current residents. You're always like, oh, you're going to turn at the old Twyford place and go down the Meekses. And these are all people that have been gone for 100 years. Yeah.
He passed in 1892. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go down there and work at like a gas station, right? And wear like, you know, overalls and like a straw hat. And then when someone's like, how do you get to this place? I'll be like, well, what's your doors? You go down the street and you turn left. Just to watch them be like, wait, what?
Oh my gosh. Airy Twitch in the chat says where the drugstore used to be. Yeah, that's also a landmark, actually, where the old drugstore used to be.
I like that. It's kind of endearing, you know?
They put street signs up a couple of years ago and named all the streets in town, but none of us know like what our street is. It's just...
What? None of you know what your street is?
Yeah, like we have to check the signs and stuff, like because we've never had those street names before. We had one street that had a name. Well, two streets, because there was Main Street and then
the street.
And Main Street and Franklin Street were parallel, and all of the cross streets, none of them had a name. You would turn at the store, or you would turn by Ernie's.
Wow, turn by Ernie's, nice.
Turn by Ernie's.
Captain Bone says Rick is meant to be in the realm of King of the Hill, and I lived there. There was a while when you would turn down the back alley behind my house, and there was a sign that said, please don't kill our kids, spelled O-W-R. Please don't kill our kids.
Wow.
And it was like, maybe we should. I mean,
we had a guy who put up a sign for tire repair, but he switched the I and the A. And so we used to say tire repair,
which is better. And then that also, and I'm not joking, because this seems like we're going on a fake roll here. Somebody had puppies, and they had a sign that says, "The puppies are here." H-E-A-R.
Wow.
I'm not. It's like there was. Do you know the shirt clothing brand, MR Ducks?
No.
Okay, so around here, especially Maryland mostly, there's a shirt company where it's literally the letters M, letter R, ducks. And it's derived, it was like a hunting clothing thing. And it's derived from the joke accent of, I guess, our area, where it's like, MR ducks. MR not ducks. OSAR.
Oh, wow.
So it was a whole shirt company called MR Ducks.
Wow. So Fallout.
How did we get here? Where are we?
Yeah. This was pretty far. So the Atom Shop is having a clearance sale, and many items in the Atom Shop are on sale, and they're saying that they will be removed. These items will be removed from the store after the sale is over. And I feel a little weird about that. I don't like this. These are digital things, and I feel a little weird about how they're trying to place this false scarcity on them. You know what I mean? Artificial scarcity. Seems a little weird to me. And the prices, I went shopping because I was like, oh yeah, Atom store sale. I'm gonna spend some of my atoms. You know, it's now's the time. But the items still seemed a little pricey for me.
I do what you're saying. I love that idea of like, you can't get this digitally created content forever. It's limited time. We can only hit Control V so many times.
Yeah, that I feel a little weird about that, but I have such mixed feelings about the Atom Shop.
It's certain. Well, yeah. Again, we're resistant to change, and
we really are.
But at least you can earn the points in game. And so that's kind of a redeeming property of it.
And it's funding this this year of content that they're releasing will be free because of these Atom Shop purchases.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
You know, again, you know, I don't mind microtransactions, and like it's so weird how we've how much we have changed over the years from not liking cosmetic transactions to like thinking that they're the right way. I mean, it's all just business structure. It's all the way that businesses are handled. And we've talked about this many times before. So at least it's not anything game breaking unless you need that high hairdo to play the game.
Yeah, well, plainly you need the fabulous hairdo to play the game.
The fabulous hairdo.
Plainly you do. So. Indeed. Anyway, I guess that's all I really have to say about the Atom Shop.
That's all I've got to say about that.
There's a sale going on, so check that out, guys.
Gosh. How it's just, I was thinking about this the other day about me and a friend were talking about money, and you know, the saying absolute power corrupts absolutely. Money is power, so therefore money is corruptive, essentially. But then you think about it and you're like, some jerk decided to scribble on a piece of paper and say, hey, this is worth stuff. You know, this is worth my thing. Or like just a gold nugget, which is a stone you dig out of the ground. You're like, yeah, I'm going to say this is worth a lot of money. And then you've got to give me this for that and somehow create a currency. And all of a sudden they've got a ton of this, like man-made, like we made the value for this thing. No one told us there was a value to it. We just decided to make it a value because we thought it was shiny.
Yeah, the economy is weird.
And it's like, wait a sec here. You're better than me because you just decided a rock had value?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Atom stores. Like,
but you know, it is easier to carry this artificial value thing than like a pocket full of chickens. You know, because if we hadn't gone away from a barter system,
is that a cock in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Sir, it's a hen. You would know that if you knew a thing about chickens.
Yes, but you know, yeah.
But anyway, it's just I know it's a loose argument, but it was just funny because I feel like it's kind of in the same thing of like, oh, this digital currency has monetary value just because we say it does. So, yeah. But I have no problems with it. I really, really don't.
I don't know how to transition here. Somebody thinks they found a Fallout 76 secret ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. They're setting out to see if they can bring it about. There are some fissures that spawn scorch beasts. I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as possible because I haven't actually played the end of the game, so I didn't go to the detail section of this article. But they think they found an objective and that the Scorchbeast Queen is not the end of the game. So what they want to do is nuke every fisher and destroy every Scorchbeast nest. And that's something that is mentioned in the lore of the game. So they want to make a team, some strike teams, nuke every fisher, and trigger the fight with the Scorchbeast Queen and see if something special will happen. So,
and it has to be the same server, right?
Yes, it would have to be all on the same server. So
that is interesting. I like that they're thinking of that.
Me too. Even if there's not any kind of special reward for this, and I have a feeling there's not, but I think it's really cool that they're sort of creating their own content here.
And that's what Fallout is. Fallout is about creating your own experiences, and it's fun that there are people out there that are doing this, that are looking past all the goofiness and digging into the lore of the game and being like, oh, there might be something to this. And that's awesome. I'm glad that people out there are keeping it alive in that regard.
That's a really cool thing. Really, really cool thing.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder if there will be something.
I'm thinking no, but I would love if there was.
Has somebody tried nuking the same place with all of the nukes at the same time yet?
Well, I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see how the server would handle it.
Can you send more than one nuke at a time?
Well, if you have different... Because aren't there different silos? So technically, couldn't you launch... like two...
I don't know. I haven't played the end of the game. I assumed you could only launch from one place. That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm still fairly early on in the story mode, so...
Yeah, I keep restarting a new game, so...
You starting new characters? I'm shocked.
We'll talk about that.
So unlike you.
We'll talk about... Yeah, Joseph Tao says you can send 3 nukes at once. Captain Bones also mentioning this Todd Howard teased terminal that's no one has found yet.
Yeah, that was the Fallout 4 one.
Yeah. Which
I think it was found. I think we just don't know which one it was.
That's exciting, though. What the heck did it mean? I want to know.
So you may remember on the podcast that shall not be named, we talked about the Fallout tabletop miniatures game that was made by Modifius Entertainment. They are now in development of 2 further games. One of them is another miniatures game that will expand the existing world of Fallout Wasteland Warfare. And the second one is going to be a more traditional tabletop RPG in the Dungeons and Dragons style.
Pen and paper.
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. And I think we should learn how it works and run a game. I think it would be really fun.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you think? We could do it over Zoom. It would be fun. We could even stream it.
That would be interesting.
It would be a good experience. We might have to find an external person to be our dungeon master. So somebody with some experience doing that. You're making this weird, Rick. Audio folks cannot appreciate the faces that Rick is making.
I want someone to master my dungeon. I've got to say that in a more like... if I could do a better Peter Lorre, that's how I would do that. But yeah, I can't do a Peter Lorre. I will practice. Yeah. I will practice.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the press release here. It is designed for... I lost my place. I'm sorry. Designed for 1 game master and up to 6 players. Build your crew from a wide range of factions, allies, and iconic characters from the Fallout series, or even create your own and play in apocalyptic role-playing adventures across the Wasteland. The role-playing game will let players take popular narrative experience of the Wasteland Warfare's miniature game even further by expanding their collection, and it can be played as a standalone product using free downloadable cards and a set of Fallout Wasteland Warfare dice.
Ooh.
So,
I just want the dice. I've got a thing for die.
really?
Yeah. It's weird. I don't have any, but I like die.
I have one set of dice, and it came from my God of War loot crate.
Ooh.
And the dice bag is like the mother's ashes, which is a little weird. It's like the bag, with the mother's ashes and dice in there. And I feel a little weird about it, but
no, when I was young, I know that nobody thinks that I'm weird at all or have any sort of strange isms, but when I was a youngin', preteen, probably 13, 14, Nintendo 64 era, one of my favorite games from the Nintendo 64 was the Golden Nugget. And all it was a casino game. You'd gamble, like roulette, blackjack, craps, all that. That's all it was. And me and my buddy, we would play 007, right? In multiplayer with the bots, so it was World Is Not Enough. And we would pretend that we were the guards of the casino, or robbers or something, and we'd like flip-flop the games. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. So you were still playing in the same world.
Oh, yeah. But it was two different games. It was Casino Royale and 007. But I was obsessed with gambling as a kid. Like, obsessed with it. To where I was dead certain that my 21st birthday, I would go to Vegas. That was dead certain because I couldn't wait to legally gamble. And in my basement, I had a casino set up. I had different gambling stations in my basement set up for like months. I even made my own game. And I remember at Walmart, there was a pack of bicycle cards with a set of bicycle dice where around the one, around the single dot was the word bicycle. And I was like, I must have those dice. I want those dice because I don't have any dice that have the red bicycle writing on it. And I did get them. I weirdly still have those dice. And I don't know why, but I was so obsessed with them. And it was, it was pretty crazy. But I loved dice as a kid. I liked red, the clear ones. I still like when I would play Magic, you would buy a fat pack and they would come with a 20-sided die. And I loved collecting those. I was like, I just want to buy fat packs for the dice.
That's cool.
It's weird.
How funny.
It's strange.
I'm learning things about you. This is something I didn't know about you before.
I wonder if you could get dice made out of human bone. Oh, we're alive. Right.
I'm just going to let that stretch out. People are checking their phones, thinking their phones died. Kerfuffle says, imagine Kid Rick playing New Vegas.
Oh, man, I would be like, oh, this is amazing. Gosh.
I really enjoyed the casino games in New Vegas.
Archon's just like, you can get bone dice. I want bone dice now.
Oh, no.
I do.
No, not human bone dice.
No, that's a little morbid.
No.
Google's human bones.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Well, I could take my grandmother.
Rick.
No, anyway. No, I'm not that obsessed with dice now. I just... I thought it would be cool to have Fallout dice, though.
So Fallout 4 is back on Xbox Game Pass. It was part of the service early on.
Oh, good.
And it rolled out, but it is now back on Xbox Game Pass. And that's good. So if you don't have a copy of Fallout 4 on Xbox and you'd like to play it, go ahead.
Worth playing.
And that's all I have for news. I have some Post-National Enquirer if you want to
Let's do it.
to that, because God, I'd like to move on right now. That'd be
what?
amazing.
Wait, what's wrong? What?
What's wrong? You're making dice out of human bones and you're asking me what's wrong?
No, I am not making anything out of human bone, just the necklace and not dice for certain. And besides, Moxie in the chat says that they have bone dice and apparently they don't roll very well.
Well, speaking of rolling, we're just going to roll right into this Post-National Enquirer. We talked about this on GameStack, but I wanted to bring it up also on that Fallout show because I know we have some listeners who don't listen to GameStack, even though they all should.
What?
So I just wanted to bring this up again. There was a mysterious Amazon Bethesda placeholder pre-order listing. So a couple of weeks ago, I saw this on Twitter. Wario64 posted this listing for a Bethesda placeholder game that was available for pre-order in 3 different SKUs: a standard, deluxe, and collector's edition. And along with that pre-order listing was a video, and the video was an old-timey style countdown from 10. So of course that got the internet thinking that maybe this is some kind of Fallout thing. Maybe it's some kind of Fallout collection or Fallout 3 remaster, or even something new that we don't know about. And I think that's a little bit more like optimistic, thinking that it's something new. I don't think that's possible, but it is totally possible that it could be maybe some kind of a remake of one of the older titles in the series, or maybe it's not Fallout related at all, or maybe it's some kind of a hoax and it's not even a real thing. But
I'm still mad at myself for not trying to dig any deeper into it, you know? So I should have. It's gone now, so there's no way to like go back and look at any of it.
Yeah, the listing was removed.
Mm-hmm.
I did go ahead and pre-order it while it was available because I was curious. It was research purposes, you know, totally for research purposes.
Do you still have the receipt? Oh, you didn't pay though.
No, you don't pay for an Amazon pre-order until it ships. But in my order history, it still shows as an active order. So I don't know.
What happens if you click it?
It just goes to like a
page not found.
That one. The dogs of Amazon, you know how whenever they have an error, they show
double drat.
They show like the dogs of Amazon. Sorry, I just have to check my work phone real quick.
Okay. I don't know what to do, guys. I can't host the show alone. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be anything. If anything, I think it's gonna be a remake. So I don't know. I should have hit F12 and went in to dig into the video to see what the URLs were and stuff like that. But I don't know. I should have. I tried to see if I could go back to it on the Wayback Machine, and that was of no use. So. And
it was. I'm sorry. It's work.
Oh. Well, let's all just take a second and hold on here.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's important.
All right, fine.
Okay.
But anyway, why don't we go ahead and get on to, unless you have anything else to say.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. The video was actually old movie stock footage, which lends credence to the theory that it is
a hoax.
In fact, some kind of hoax.
Elaborate one. It was an elaborate ruse.
I don't know. I just have a feeling. That Amazon probably governs pre-order listings a little bit more seriously than not pre-order things. You know, than things you can get right now. So I wonder if it's something.
I wonder.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So. Guess what I got?
What you got?
I got some gameplay stories. No! I hit the wrong bumper. Anyway, I actually played a little bit of Fallout 76 the last 2 weeks, which is kind of impressive if you ask me, because I haven't been really into it. But what I did was, since there was a new patch, and what I like to do after major updates is start a new character to see if the game feels any different than when I first played it. And guess what? It did. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's still weird graphicalness that sometimes things look fuzzy and sometimes they don't. So I don't know. It's almost like the center of the screen is what's in focus and everything around it is blurred.
I think you need a better computer.
It's a 970. It's fine. There's no.
It's a good computer. I think you need a better one.
There's no settings for this. None. But it could just be me. Maybe I don't know if it's just I'm not used to it, but or what. But I played.
had that on the old computer, and the new computer, it's just clear.
We are in 4K though.
Yeah.
That's completely. I mean, that's irrelevant. You know, I don't know if it's that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway. But. Guys, stop bullying me.
Arshin in chat says Rick's eyes are going. I guess we're crotchety old people on the inside, and it's time that we're old on the outside too.
Fine. Well, I'm just going to talk directly into the microphone from now on. So anyway, like I always say. No, it was fun. I decided to make like an old dude kind of. I wanted to make a guy who was like a scavenger, you know, like someone who would go in and loot old buildings and sell the scrap, that sort of thing.
Right.
There are two issues with this. One is you have to have other people to sell scrap to. And two.
Well, you could sell it to the robots.
Robots?
Or you could sell it to the real players. You know, you could build a shop.
I'm working on that. But there's really no players. I settled right around the first town you go to, so there should be a plethora of people there. The problem is also the second that you go through and loot a building, like it's like I'll walk into a building and there's like a nice piece of scrap and I'll pick it up and then like 5 seconds later, there's another one right there. And I was thinking about this and it kind of made me think about the item respawn rate in the game. And I feel like it's too quick. Like you go and you loot a building and then you go back 10 minutes later and it's all there again. And it kind of feels like, now granted I am in one area just looting there, but I wish it took longer. Like maybe it would add a little bit to the challenge of like, I mean obviously it's a rebalance thing, but I just maybe feel like I would rather have slower degradation of weapons and rarer resources. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would encourage trading. I think, and it would make it more of a role play game. Like scavengers, all they do is they go and scavenge. So that way adventurers don't have to do that constantly for materials. They can I just feel, you know what I'm saying? I feel it would encourage.
I think I would enjoy the game less if the resources were rarer. But I understand why that would be appealing for your style of play.
But not rarer. Just a longer respawn rate.
Yes,
that's all.
But like the thing is, I just know that I would pop into the game and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go find a telephone to turn it into gun parts, and like all the telephones in the wasteland would be gone because people already went in there and cleared out the entire server.
Well, I think there's plenty of spawns, and I think there's plenty of loot to be had. I mean, there's multiple telephones in buildings. I mean, there's plenty of loot everywhere. I just wish it had just a little bit longer of a spawn rate. It's just a personal observation. However, it does feel like I'm always out of screws, or springs.
Screwed.
Yeah. Anyway, so it kind of detracts away from my scavenger type of build. And I still feel like this game shoehorns you into what everybody's kind of annoyed at. Like, oh, my end game is wearing power armor with a heavy gun, and that's what I have to do in order to beat the game. Because like I don't know. I wished it felt a little more open, and to me, I guess I don't know. That was the fun thing about Fallout 4 was you would scavenge a building and it wouldn't be there anymore. So maybe again I've got to adjust to the game and change. But I will tell you that I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun trying to survive because of not being a heavy combat character, and kind of focusing on the scavengery thing. Also, a lot of the perks don't really go along with scavenging or somebody who's not a combat role, which I found interesting as well. But the game ran a lot smoother. I didn't have any stutter issues. like I had
That's
before.
good news.
The combat still feels good. I love the sound. I love the ambience of the game. I love the way things echo. It's nice. It's just when you fire the gun and it just like travels out through Appalachia. I like that. I like hearing gunshots and seeing other people, and there's still a little bit of that will they, won't they? You know, are they going to be jerks? Are they going to be mean? Oh, by the way, the second I get out of the vault, there's a dude in power armor, and he drops like a little brown plastic bag or a little brown paper bag on the floor, jumps up and down a bunch of times, and runs off. And
He gave you a care package?
he gave me a care package, and I was kind of like, I'm fine. I don't. Thank you.
Rick's like, I'm not a noob.
Yeah, I know. I've been here before, about 15 times actually. So that's fine. You know, I just felt bad because I took someone else's stuff who may have needed it more than I. And then I go to the main overseer's camp, and some dude runs up in power armor, gets out, throws a plastic thing on the floor, runs over to a manufacturing bench, builds something, and throws that on the ground, jump, 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 and then runs off.
Aww,
Yeah, 2 people gave me care packages right off the bat.
nice.
And it was really refreshing to see people being friendly in a Fallout game, because I so expected jerks. And
I did too. I've been pleasantly surprised about the way that people behave towards other players in the game. I expected a lot more aggression than we're seeing.
yeah, and I'll tell you where I'm at right now with it. I want to go back into my main character and play, but since my house got destroyed twice, I feel very disorganized with, you know, my stash and things. And I don't know about you, but when I don't know if you get this way, but when you get with a character that you've forgotten where you are, you forget kind of how you have things sorted, and you get back into it, you're kind of like,
meme. You know, I have no memory of this
Yeah.
place.
like that's when I usually start a new character, because it's like I don't feel like dealing with that clutter. I'll just shove it in a closet and start over. So I don't know. I feel bad because the game hasn't sucked me into it again. And it's like, no, it's the No Man's Sky problem. I spent a lot of time. I spent like a day and a half in No Man's Sky. And I spent maybe like a week in No Man's Sky before I realized it was even glitched when I first got it. And then when I realized there was a glitch, it was kind of like... Or I spent months working that game, and all of a sudden they're like, we're coming out with the way it should have been all along. And you're like, I just spent months gathering resources, and now it's all for nothing. It's like a grind. And so I'm at that point with Fallout 76 where I'm having a hard time kind of getting back into it, and it's not the game's fault. It's totally mine. And so I'm hoping that I can play with like you or Vendor or something and kind of get back into the swing of this thing. But I almost want to experience the game from the beginning again without role-playing anything, because I think that was my fault with my newest character, was starting a role-play character rather than just experiencing the game. I was like, I'm gonna go be this, and I think that was my problem. Is maybe it's good to play the game and then role-play, then pick something. I don't know, but I did have a lot of fun as far as just the gameplay itself, the way that it worked out. But man, I'm a little nervous that this one might not be for me.
It's possible. And if that's true, then that's fine.
No, it's not fun, because I want it to be. I asked for this. I asked for this on the very last episode of a show that shall not be named. I was like, I want one here, and they're like, here you go. And I was like, I want one that's co-op, and they're like, here you go. And then I'm acting like a kid, like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll give it some more goes, and we'll see how it is. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, I played last week with Vendertron. We did talk about this also on that Fallout, we're on that Fallout show now. We talked about it a little bit on GameStack. See, I'm old. I'm forgetting which podcast we're doing right now. But we did talk a bit about our experiences on GameStack. I will review that a bit. We went to this camp, and some lady put Vendor in a box. Just built a box around him. Yeah. And I think he had some flashbacks to his box at the gun runners, and it was terrible. It was terrible. I was really upset. We had to fast travel out of there. And we fast traveled out, and we decided to go toward this farmhouse because we'd never been there before. And we found some teddy bears filming a cooking show. I love the teddy bears. Cute. I just, the teddy bears are so good in this game. The teddy bears are really, really good in this game. Big fan. But I had a great time with Vendertron. We went on adventures together. We went swimming in an irradiated lake. We went to a different farmhouse, and Vendertron put on a preacher outfit and picked up a pitchfork, and it was just amazing. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And Jim Justice, I had him in that little swimsuit.
Oh.
We were such a cute little team. It was so great. And I've been playing a lot solo on my Xbox character. I've been playing that one almost exclusively solo. And the game is a very different experience by yourself, a very, very different experience. And sometimes it works incredibly well, and sometimes it works less well. I played through the Overseer's personal log quest, which is the quest line, of course, where you go and you find the Overseer's personal log. You listen to her story. That voice actor that plays the Overseer, she really killed it. She did an amazing job of making you really empathize with her character. And I really believed in her. I was really heavily invested in her story, and like I felt her pain along with her. And her personal quest, I played it through to the end, and it was heartbreaking, just totally heartbreaking. It was one of the better quests in the game, in my opinion. One of the better quests that I've gone through so far.
I still think one of the strongest parts of this game is the quests. I mean, because granted, yes, we know everyone's dead. Let's move past that. So that makes the game even more macabre.
Yeah, I really think that the audio logs are incredibly effective. A lot of people have complained about that, but I think it's a strong point in the
audio
game.
Drama.
Yeah, maybe I heard somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I saw a post somewhere that said that Fallout 76 is a game for people who like podcasts too much. And yeah, that's us. So
who podcasts?
I have been encountering a lot of over-leveled bosses whenever I go on quests, and
Ooh.
I feel like the game is incredibly unpredictable, and I think that's a draw for many people. It's not really a draw for me. I feel like every time that I log on to Fallout 76, I don't know what my experience is going to be like. You know, I just don't know what to expect. And just for example, one of Rose's quests has you going into a mine to find a key. And the key is in the possession of a character named Freddie Lang. And Freddie was a raider. Freddie has a very poignant story that is told via audio logs about her life and how she ended up in this position. And when you find Freddie, she is a glowing one. And the first time that I found her, so I around the mine, there's a bunch of mole miners, right? They're all like level 40. I pretty much ran through them and just got to the door because I was maybe level 20 the first time that I tried this quest. And it was tough. And I got into the mine and I was like, I'm not sure I'm up for this. But then inside the mine, all the mole miners were like level 8, level 14, things like that. It was no problem getting through those guys. And then I get to Freddie Lang and she's level 65. and I can't even touch her. You know, she just looks at me and I die. So that was a bummer. And I tried again another time because I've heard that the level of your enemies depends on basically who is the first one on the server to be in that area when they spawn. So I went back later on, and again, she was level 65. And I use a lot of resources, you know, getting to the end of this quest, and I can't even finish. And finally, I went back last night, and she was level 40, and it was totally doable. And I got her beaten, and it was good. You know, I had a good experience. She was still way over leveled for me, but I was able to do it. But I don't like not knowing, you know. I'd rather, if she was 65, level 65 all the time, I'd rather that and know what I have to work towards, instead of just having to drop in and check whether or not I can beat this now, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I've experienced that with multiple quests.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that before.
I'll fight my way through all these enemies, and I'll get to the end, and then the boss level enemies are just like untouchable for me. But then I go back another time and I can beat them. They're lower level and I can beat them. And I feel like it's frustrating. It's been really frustrating for me. So.
And that comes with the problem of not instancing anything. Mm-hmm. That's a story or a quest thing, because, you know, MMOs usually get around that by instancing the story or something, so it's always going to be level specific to whomever's doing it. But yeah, that's the risk that one runs in this sort of situation. So
I feel like half the time when I play, I just waste the time, you know, because I'm not able to progress. And I'd rather there was some consistency in terms of these enemy levels. And even if it was way out of my ability to beat this character, at least I would know that's what I have to work towards. You know, when I hit level 50, I'll come back, you know.
Why? Yeah, it's weird why they're not area, like levels aren't quote unquote area specific, where like, oh, this is the beginning area of weak enemies, and this is a harder area, and the quests in this area are easier typically than those, and I don't know.
Yeah. So I've had some frustration with that, but all the same, I'm still having fun with the game more often than not.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I feel like I just kind of dragged the podcast down with my frustration story, but
no, it's definitely, it's just there are kinks that need to be worked out, and I think this is what they were talking about. You know, they're looking for feedback on this, and yeah, it sounds like from what I've heard there are, you know, and even in the chat there have been people that have had that same issue of levels being not at all consistent and everywhere, all over the place. Mm-hmm. So let's just hope that someone who's a level 50 doesn't walk out in front of the vault and all of the little robots are like level 50 instead of 1. You're like, ah. So
yeah, surely the robots, surely the vault robots are
I think they're
locked.
Always level 1.
Surely they're locked in at level 1, because if they weren't, like, that would just be horrible.
Yeah. Well, that's often the challenge of making a game that fits everyone's needs. People who are level 10, level 50. It's certainly a big challenge to do that. And speaking of challenges,
hey, let's do it.
All right. So last time on that Fallout show, we asked you guys to post pictures of you guys taking dips in irradiated lakes for that Fallout show challenge. We asked, and you answered with some really cool pictures. Let's check them out. All right, this is Captain Bones, and he's sitting there neck deep in a lake with a couple of friends. One of them looks like they're hurling into said lake. He says, I absolutely love that Fallout show, and perhaps y'all should too. This week's challenge was to enjoy a dip in an irradiated pool. I think most of my friends kept it together at my camp, sorta. So thank you for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Archin. That Fallout show. After treasure hunting across Appalachia, my friend and I did a little sailing, crabbing, and swimming in the Grafton Lake. And it looks like their sailboat is beached. So good luck with that one. But that's a cool shot.
Yeah,
One of them.
something about this picture reminds me of the captain's dance in Far Harbor.
I was thinking like a post-apocalyptic Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And that's so appropriate because Archin is the Sea of Thieves guy.
He is. Next is Matt Crumbly. This week's TFS challenge was to take my Fallout 76 character for a swim. I had to tussle with the behemoth lifeguard first, but the water is great except for the radiation. And there he's standing he's standing in front of a downed behemoth while wearing a wonderful swimsuit.
I love that swimsuit. It's so cute.
It's cute on everyone. Let's see here. I can't read the Twitter name, but
Sister Rose.
Sister Rose says that Fallout show. Okay, I went to the Wavy Willards and rode the Slither slide. Had to do the green one because who puts a loop the loop on a slide? And now I'm packed full of frads. So I hope you guys are happy now.
Yes, we are.
They're hanging out in the. They actually use the Wavy Willards
Photo
postcard.
frame. Yeah.
Pantagruelia, hey, what's that over there? What do you mean? The boat's going to tip. And it's a picture of them standing in the boat looking out for the distance, and then they're in the water. So have fun in that irradiated lake. Let's see. Oh, and Shalene's got one. It's it's the Battle of the Bulge.
It is. It is.
And I'm not talking about World War II.
So, just a funny aside, Mistress LeBeau on Twitter actually replied to this one and was like, "Are you guys hiding pool cues in there?" Like, so this is my character, Jim Justice, and Vendertron's character, and we're just having a little swim near Grafton, having some swimmies in our tidy whities, and we had a lovely time. Had a lovely time together. It was very refreshing.
I see that you've used your divining rods to find water. Oh, it's so good. Oh, man.
We had a really fun time playing together. Really fun time.
Bender looks so, like, sneaky at the moment.
He's funny because he's in the water, like, up to his eyeballs, and my character's got his head
taller.
above water, so...
Awesome. Next up is Joel Shenka. My character thought it was warm enough in Grafton to go for a swim. And it looks like a blood red pool. Actually, I think that's the same lake you guys are in, isn't it?
I think it is actually the same lake. Yeah, it's a popular lake.
Let's see here. Unlooted Vault. That Fallout show. Splish Splash. I'm taking a bath. And they got a creepy freaking mask. And they're sitting in sexy pose next to some...
Ooh.
radiation barrels, blah blah. That's probably the best one I've seen.
That mask is utterly terrifying.
That is terrifying. It's like this white mask with a really big smile with ruby red lips and a red nose. Ugh.
So scary.
Let's move on. Oh, and that takes us to the end. Thank you guys so much for submitting to last week's challenge, and we have a new challenge. Actually, Shalene has a new challenge for you. Why don't you talk about that?
Okay, so guys, I'm a very busy lady. I'm not 100% sure how much time I'm going to have to spend at the Fosnut Parade. So I would like to see all of your screenshots from the Fosnut Parade. So that's the challenge for next time. Participate in this event to get some masks. Hang out with some crazy robots and send us some great screenshots from this limited time event.
Awesome. How can they submit those to us?
So the only way to submit it that we're going to actually see it is via Twitter, and use the hashtag TFS Challenge, #TFS Challenge, and that's how we find those. If you use any other way to post your challenge, we're probably not going to get it in.
Nope.
So.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to those pictures in 2 weeks from the False nut day challenge. But we've got some lore, and I'm excited for this one because we have been putting it off for so long. So let's get right to it. Cazadors. Let's talk about Cazadors. They are mutated insects found in the Mojave Wasteland. They mutated from the tarantula hawk spider wasps, which you actually have to deal with, don't you?
Yeah, we have those in New Mexico. And the first time that I ever saw one actually was, I don't know if I just hadn't noticed them before, but I had been in the house playing Fallout New Vegas for like 9 hours, and my mom was like, hey, come out to the garden with me, you know, see the sunshine. I'm like, okay, you know, I'll come outside. And I went outside, and there was a little tiny Cazador flying around. And I felt like I was a crazy person. You know how, like, you play Tetris a lot, and then you can, like, see Tetris when you close your eyes? I felt like that's what had happened to me. But no, it turns out we have these little bugs that look just like Cazadors.
Well, they became Cazadors after Dr. Boris in the Z14 Pespin DNA splicing lab made them. They ended up breaking out and getting into the Mojave Wasteland. They have orange wings, black and blue bodies, and red eyes. They fly in irregular patterns, making them very difficult to target, unless you're using VATS, which
VATS is the only way,
the
man.
only way.
That's the wing.
Oh my goodness, VATS and a shotgun. They travel in swarms as well. So if you see one, you haven't seen them all. There's going to be more. Their quick attacks can poison, which leads to a very quick death. And they were often the killer of Boone and my other companions. And actually, when I was heading out to the one Legion camp, you know, the one Legion camp that attacked the... No, it's not a Legion camp. It's a NCR fort, kind of off on the east side of the map. You walk down a road. There are death claws on the left.
Yeah.
And then there's a camp down on the right that you have to defend and then defend against the counterattack or whatever. It was always getting to that place that Boone would die, because I'd always I wouldn't travel on the road because there would be the blind death claw, and I would always travel in the desert off to the left of the road, and there were always Cazadors. Sometimes there were, often Night Stalkers. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't play hardcore when I play New Vegas, because the Cazadors kill Boone, and it breaks my heart. Like, I can't stand. They hit him. He makes that like, and he like crouches over, and I can't stand it. It's too much for my little heart to handle.
Also before they patched, so like if you hand your companion anti-venom, they will not take it.
Right.
And if you stim pack them, when you stim pack someone with poison, it does damage. So like, yeah, I found this out the hard way when they were poisoned, and I would go to open up the menu and close the menu, then open it back up to see if their health would go down, to see if they were poisoned. And then like I just stim packed the heck out of Boone, and then like exit the menu, he just went ugh and just dropped dead. I was like, no. Reload save. So what you would have to do is before the patch, you would have to kill everything in the area so you could fast travel. And oftentimes fast traveling would stop them from being poisoned, because like the poison effect wouldn't go away until you fast traveled, then it would trigger the poison effect to leave. Sometimes. I think you could give them Datura anti-venom, and that would cure the poison eventually. But they ended up patching the poison effect to actually dissipate over time, instead of just being an indefinite condition on your companions from Cazador. So, if you're trying to avoid them, they are most common in the mountains and can be found in the dry lake beds. The sting of the adult Cazador does more physical damage than a giant rad scorpion as well. So, yeah. Fighting them, it's best to cripple their wings. When you shoot them in the wings, they kind of fall on the ground and they flip around. And if they're insects, so if you cripple their antennas, it does turn them into a frenzy, so they attack other Cazadors. Unfortunately, headshots don't do extra damage on these things, so aim for the wings or the antenna.
Yeah. Wings are the way to go, man.
Oh,
Wings
yeah.
are the way to go.
Oh, yes.
If you can stop them from chasing you, then...
Yeah, or at least slow them down so you can, like, get some distance. There's a few options to heal from the poison. Endurance, the Anti-Venom and the Super Stim Pack, the Datura Anti-Venom, Spore, Plant Pods, Blood Shield, and Tribal Wisdom, which is a perk. Heartless is another perk. Cardiac Arrest is another perk, I think. The Snakebite Tourniquet, Auto-Inject Stim Pack, and Auto-Inject Super Stim Pack are ways that you can help heal from that poison. There are actually multiple types of Cazadors. Not only, did you know this? There are multiple types?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, not only is there the adult...
I've died to all of them.
I didn't know about a couple. So there are young Cazadors, which you see in the Mojave. There are the adult Cazadors, which are also in the Mojave. Then there's something called the legendary Cazador. The legendary Cazador. There's only one, and it has twice as much health as a normal Cazador, and if you see it, run. Then there's the giant Cazador. Larger than the adult Cazadors, and usually found in groups of 2 or 3. So it's less of a swarm, but there's just more of the Cazador. Not as big as the legendary, though. But then there's another one. There's the meanest one of them all, called Specimen 73. It's got more health than a legendary Cazador, which, to be noted, the legendary Cazador has twice as much health as an adult, and the Specimen 73 has more health than the legendary. It's faster than any other Cazador, and if you see this one, run. Or have a very big gun.
If you see it, it's already too late.
The last thing you'll never see. It's very easy to lose companions to these, like I was saying, as companions don't take anti-venom, which I also found out by throwing anti-venom in their inventory. And Boone's like, what am I supposed to use this for? I don't need this. Dead. So.
Yeah. And Eddie, they poison Eddie somehow. I don't know.
they give him a virus.
Poor little Eddie lying on his side on the ground in the desert. Just, it breaks my heart. I can't stand it.
It rolls. You're like, no, physics engine. Actually, Moxie says about Boone, yeah, and him being disappointed he's still alive. I forgot about that.
Yes.
He gets injured. He's like, oh, darn. You're like, oh, Boone. Somebody says, wait, Boone is Batman.
Such a tragic character.
Boone does kind of have a Batman kind of voice, though, doesn't he? Am I doing it wrong?
A bit. Well, it's kind of a softer voice than the whole Batman.
I'm so tired of being alive. I'll just mush.
Yeah,
I'll mush all my words together. I'm a sniper, my name is Moon.
Just stop. Just stop.
Cazadors found in Big Mountain are actually tougher and drop more poison glands than Mojave ones because that's where they came from. So it's safer to assume that they're just stronger there because that's where they originated. And because Cazador poison is much more lethal than Rad Scorpion's poison, it's actually a random chance that you get poisoned by a Cazador. It's not every single time you get hit. So when you get hit, it's mostly just physical damage, and then every once in a while, you get some poison. So, and not the, I can't think of a song that Poison wrote to make the joke. That's a bummer. Anyway, they have a high perception, which also makes them very hard to sneak past. So you can't outrun them. You can't sneak past them. You're probably going to die if you get near them in your a low level. So, Charlene, what's the best way to not die from a Cazador?
Don't play New Vegas.
I was going to say don't fight the Cazadors, but that's fine. You can do that.
Yeah, it's like basically if you see the Cazadors, they know you're there and you die. Like I remember I once had an autosave just kind of screw me over because I went into this little like shack, right? I was running from the Cazadors. I went in this little shack and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pop out and fight the Cazadors. It's going to be fine. But they clustered around the door while I was in there. And so I would go out the door and they would kill me and it was bad. It's awful. It's awful. The Cazadors they're awful.
I think I remember one time where they came through the door.
If
If I'm remembering correctly. I don't know. That New Vegas was probably one of the only Fallouts where I remember nightmare scenarios of like everything going wrong. Like everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
It is a brutal, brutal game. And like, did you ever try with the Jay Sawyer mod?
Maybe. Is that the one?
The Jay Sawyer mod makes
Dust?
it way harder.
Or
No,
whatever?
Dust is different. Dust also makes it harder. But
Dust
the Jay
is
Sawyer
impossible.
mod reduces your carry weight. It's basically a balance patch. It reduces your carry weight. It makes stim packs expire. And yeah,
No.
it is really rough. And I had installed it when we had Josh Sawyer on the podcast. I had installed it to talk about it. And
Right.
I didn't play New Vegas for a while. I forgot that it existed. And I booted up New Vegas
Why is this so hard?
with this mod installed, and it was just brutal. And it was probably 25 hours in before I realized what was going on. But yeah. That was kind of an aside.
No, that's really cool. I was playing New Vegas for a little bit, and I really, really like New Vegas. Like, it's hard for me to go back to old games. Like, I was watching a video on Far Cry 2, and I was like, yeah, we'll give that a shot again. Woof. Great idea. Great game, but man, I can't go back to it. And for some reason, I can go back to New Vegas. But I feel like mods break that game. Like, I've never had a successful modding of that game, and I don't understand why. So now I've removed all the mods, but there are shaders missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like delete the game, delete all the mods, delete the directories, all that stuff, reinstall the game in about 10 minutes and boot it up again because it was a lot of fun. I mean, Cheyenne, the dog, you know, all that stuff.
Remember that time that both of her eyes were on the same side of her head?
Oh, yeah. Little gems like that just make the whole world go round. But
man.
anyway, so we're going to talk about a weapon now that you should never use against a Cazador. And actually, it's kind of an underdog, I think. I've never used it except when I didn't have any ammo for anything else. And this weapon, this week, is kind of weak. And it's the silenced 22 caliber submachine gun. It's a unique submachine gun, and it has a pan-type magazine. It's like a tray that sits on the top.
Yeah.
The bullets are actually stored horizontally, and they rotate and fall down into the chamber when they fire. It's kind of a funky thing. It fired 22...
That sounds like a recipe for a jam.
Well, they used it a lot in World War I with the Bren gun.
Yeah?
You know, and I'm pretty sure they did jam. But there's not a lot of flat disc type magazines, probably for a good reason. But it fired 22 caliber bullets, so they were tiny enough. You could fire the standard bullets, or the hollow point bullets, or the plinking bullets, which I imagine just kind of bounced off of your enemies and just like
Blink.
shooting a plink.
Blink.
I just feel like you'd shoot like a super mutant. They'd be like, huh?
Like, you may as well just throw the bullets
Yeah.
at the enemies. Just...
Oh man, that was one of my favorite lines in Justified. You watched Justified, right?
Oh, yeah. That was so good.
There's this scene in that show where he drops a bullet on someone and he's like, the next one will be coming faster. And you're like, oh,
So perfect.
what a man. So anyway, it has an integrated silencer, which makes it all pew pew pew, but very quiet. It has a terrible damage roll-off. It has terrible range, and it has a terrible spread, which just makes bullets just... If you played GoldenEye and you remember the Clob from GoldenEye, Shalene, you familiar?
You know what? I didn't play much GoldenEye.
Oh, man, the Clob was like a machine pistol, and like you could walk 2 feet in front of a wall, aim the gun there, pull the trigger, and somehow you're shooting completely off. Like the gun accuracy in that game was hysterical. It was like a joke, you know. And that's how this is. It's a terrible bullet spread. It's nuts. And the only time it's deadly is when you're up close and personal. So think of it like almost like a shotgun. It only has one mod, and that's for expanded magazines. And ironically, it actually also modifies your iron sights because they have to raise up to get over because the magazine's thicker.
Interesting.
So the iron sights are actually taller. It
also, not only is it a very unique submachine gun, it's also unique in that it has the only unique reload animation, which means no other gun uses this reload animation. Which is interesting that they would create a whole one animation for this dinky gun that we all throw away. It's actually also based on the American 180 SMG, which I didn't even know was a thing, developed in the 70s. And I talk about this gun being weak and useless unless it's like, you know, from me to somebody 2 feet away. But is it really that much of a weakling? Let's take a look at a stat that I didn't even know was a stat. It's like a baseball stat, like a deep cut baseball game stat. Apparently there's a stat going around for hardcore mode only, and that's...
You should take some antibiotics for that.
That's, I'm going to just skip right past that. Damage per pound. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a damage per pound thing, and saying that, like, per pound of ammunition. So what bullet does the most damage per pound of ammunition? You know, you've got 50 caliber bullets and they take up a lot of weight. Is it worth it? Kind of deal. And this, what?
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I never thought of that. I didn't even think about damage per pound for bullet. You know, it sounds like a grocery store stat. It has the most damage per pound out of any ammo type in hardcore mode in that game. The 22 caliber bullet.
It's really interesting. Is this one of the holdout weapons?
No. The silenced pistol, which is also 22 caliber with an integrated silencer, is a holdout weapon. This one is not, because it's a little long. So you'd kind of walk like you had a cue, pull cue in your pants leg, or you just got off a horse.
Yeah.
But the damage per pound is 1,184 points of damage per pound. That's, I guess, good. I didn't even know it was a stat till now.
Yeah, I don't know what to compare that to.
I don't either. But apparently it's a good stat. So next time you're in New Vegas and the game is working, give the old SMG 22 a try. See how it works out for you. Just get real close and personal. Tap Benny on the shoulder before you let him have it. So anyway, let's get on to emails. And Shalene, I'm just going to let you take the first one.
Okay. Hello, Rick, Shalene, and Vendortron. I am a listener of your podcast and had a thought during that last episode about why Fallout 76 is a decent addition to the franchise. Fallout 76, as you said, conveys the idea of what it's like being the first people after a great disaster to step out and have to rebuild. And it serves to tell a story in the Fallout universe that is bigger than what could be told in just a few terminal entries, and had yet to even be touched on in a Fallout game. This game is empty because crap just got done hitting the fan. The Vault Dwellers are the new settlers and people who won't build the wasteland we see in the other games. 76 represents the beginning of all the other Fallout games, how it was for the first rebuilders to rebuild, and how the wasteland came to be what it is. This game is great in that it shines light on a huge chunk of lore that no other game has, and I believe that is where Bethesda really had the idea for it. Also, I believe that the multiplayer aspect was added because who would want to run around in an empty wasteland like this by themselves? Or try to run through a cut and dry version of Minuteman quests, building towns over and over. The game gives the players the ability to create their own ideas of the wasteland and give West Virginia its own backstory. Fallout 76 has honestly had the most player involvement and personalization of all the other games, and although it's buggy and confusing to most of us who love the typical single-player games, it exists in order to bring new information to the world of Fallout. You can think of it in the way that Skyrim shines light on a particular era in Elder Scrolls lore that will surely have references in ES6, or how the Oblivion Crisis had such a lore-focused impact on what Skyrim was. It's just another puzzle piece into the world created by these games and is a beautifully experimental form of that. Nathan.
It's exactly the same thing that I've been saying all along, you know. We're just in agreement with each other with this one.
I think that was a nicely written email. I don't know.
What?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that I really take issue with here, and there's really not. It's
No, we've said the same thing for many episodes. A vendor has a thought, though, if you want me to read it. Or
Go right ahead.
Vendor has a thought. It's maybe people weren't ready to create their own wastelands. Maybe people felt like they wanted to be told what to do or what they want. And I understand that. There's a lot of hand-holding in games now. There's not a lot of, games say freedom, but, we've seen over the years that games get more and more hand-holdy, like from Morrowind to Skyrim, no waypoints. Like, it went from, New Mexican directions to Google Maps. That's how we've gone. So, but yeah, all right.
Thank you for writing in, Nathan.
Yeah, it was a great email. Let's move on to an email from JG. Hey guys, for what it's worth, I believe the story in Fallout 76 is but a backdrop for the players to create their own. The immediate aftermath of the nuclear apocalypse was put in place to give meaning to the locations across the wasteland. It is also there to introduce the loot around the world. We would be amiss without a Brotherhood of Steel paints and Raider gear. The game itself is a sandbox for players to rebuild the wasteland in their own image. Solo play of this game is a drag because consuming the story feels like a chore. Sitting in one place to listen to 3 different audio logs or having to search your Pip-Boy to play them, no thanks. Not when I only have an hour to play. I want to accomplish something or experience something, albeit enjoying the audio logs from time to time. It's just a clunky system. If we wanted to hear them again, I'd have to wiki which log belonged to which quest. Conclusively, the implemented story is lacking and in no way similar to the Fallouts of yore. The atmospheric storytelling is very apparent. Follow the trail of blood to the dead agent, the note left on the maniac that mannequin? Oh. The note left on the mannequin that read, "Remember that people were here, and why does this gnome have a skull?" It's all very much the Fallout we know and love. That being said, this game is meant to be played in a group. After giving up on the game for about a month, I returned after posting on Reddit. My post attracted the attention of other players who invited me into their community. They've developed their own chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel with ranks, and even launched their own missions. The stories I've made with this group are far more enjoyable than Kesha's audio logs. Kesh is spelled with the money symbol. Gosh, that's great. While this game is lackluster in many areas, it's very fun to play Fallout with friends. The idea that this is a lazy game design is a conversation in itself. I just hope they fix all the bugs and implement a guild/clan system. Yes, that's detrimental. That's detrimental to the health of a multiplayer game. On a side note, and in response to the ongoing discussion about comparing this to the originals, I believe it's easy to relate 2 things. This game is like the isometrics in that it has stim packs, and you're alone a lot. Other than the obvious, I don't think it's like the originals at all. Those were a beast of their own, and we will not see their like again for some time, or perhaps ever. In those games, the story brought you in, and your choices could very negatively impact you. There was even the possibility of losing, even after spending hours in the game. Although we see challenging games like Dark Souls, we just see them less because they're not a great business model in today's fast-paced world, and after all, it is a business. Fight the good fight, JG. Vendor thought. Lazy Bethesda management cracking the money whip on tips and letting them take all the lash back. He wrote this in a salty mood, didn't he?
Vendor's always in a salty mood.
It's true. That's why we love Vendor.
I love him with all my heart, but he's always in a salty mood. I wish he was here to extrapolate on that a bit, though.
Yeah.
I think this is just like a little trigger for him to talk about much deeper. I gotta say, I really disagree with the story of this being like he takes the tack here that the story is a drag, and I don't agree with that. I've kind of enjoyed the story, and I love the audio logs. And I have no problem, listening to the audio logs.
He doesn't like it for the sense of, at least from what he's saying, like he doesn't want to take the time to do it and that sort of thing. And yeah, it is definitely.
That's like my favorite part of the game.
Right. And not everyone, some people just want to play the game for some action-packed, post-apocalyptic fun. Not everybody wants the road, I know that I cried during the road. It's sad. And, people just want the Book of Eli, and I get it. It makes sense. So I kind of agree with him in the sense of, maybe the story just isn't for him. Not everyone digs Harry Potter. I don't. So
That's fine. But what he really touched on that I agree 150,000% is guilds or clans. This
I don't
game
understand
needs
why
a
they didn't
faction
implement
system
that. Yeah.
so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right, because people are making their own and they want some way to like put that together. And that will really make this game shine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be really fun if we could have like a guild.
Oh yeah.
And we could have a guild bank and make it easier to trade stuff and give each other stuff. And we could maybe do like a logo in the game and post flags at our camps, like We Just Love Games flags at the camps. It would be amazing. It would be so good.
Yeah, their whole point of this is rebuilding Appalachia, and the only way that you're going to do this is to build towns together, and you're going to need to have clans for that. It just makes organization and doing everything so much easier, and that, I think, is the biggest takeaway of this entire email, because there are already people on Reddit doing this. He's right. So they need to implement that system into the game.
Mm-hmm. That would be great. That would be great.
So let's see that soon. I know that they've been improving the trading system, or at least they're trying to improve the player barter system. Let's take it a step further and get to the guilds. So we got one more email. Do you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
I'll take it.
All right.
Well met, everyone. I wanted to take a moment and say that I appreciate you three and the community you have built around this We Just Love Games. That Fallout show and a game series we all enjoy. Currently, I work third shift full-time and I'm working on a bachelor's part-time, so there's not much time for playing games or really socializing, even with my family. I have an approximate 30-minute commute time from home to work and from school to home, and I listen to your podcast on my iPod mostly during these commutes. I do my best to attend the live streams of That Fallout show in GameStack and chime in on conversations in Discord. Again, thank you for what you do. I love the podcast and look forward to socializing with everyone when I can. Respectfully, Justin.
Awesome. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. We
thank you
appreciate
for
the
writing
kind
in.
words.
That makes us feel all warm and fuzzy. That's nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other things that you want to talk about before we close the show down here? Close the vault doors?
Well, we've got a few things
We
to
do?
mention. So first off, we have a P.O. box. And the purpose of the P.O. box is you can send us a self-addressed stamped envelope and we will send you some stickers. Let me just get them out for the video people.
Also, we would really
okay.
appreciate it if you would write us like notes. Like, we would love letters. I mean, so
Postcards, maybe?
feel
from
free.
where you live?
Well,
That
yeah.
would be
Feel free to write on postcards or write on the back of $100 bills and let us know how much you love the show.
Stop it.
Let's turn this Poe box into a rich box. Okay, people? What I'm saying is we need money.
Rick, stop it. The P.O. Box is 396, P.O. Box 396, Corona, New Mexico, 88318. And that is posted on the Discord, on the Twitter, on the Facebook. I think also in our Twitch and YouTube bios as well. So you can find that there. And we've got this nice postcard and these stickers featuring the logos of our podcasts. And if you send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the P.O. box, I will send you some stickers. So
I feel like we just
we
turned.
have like a huge case of stickers.
We do, but I feel like we just turned into like a PBS show. Write to us at P.O. Box 396, Corona, New Mexico 88381 or
88318.
88318. Take a bite out of crime.
We'll send you your own McGruff crime dog patch.
Oh man, it'll have to be the we'll have to create our own detective agency to make Vic instead of McGruff, because I'm sure that's copyrighted.
Yes. And we can just style it after Valentine's Detective Agency.
So
It'll be great. I'll be your secretary. It'll be really good.
awesome.
So on our next episode of That Fallout show in 2 weeks, we will be chatting with Dave Chaffins from Vault Boys West Virginia podcast.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be really cool to get to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any questions for somebody from West Virginia, you can send those in, and we'll have them ready when he comes.
That'd be a good thing to do. We didn't do that. I guess we didn't really announce that we had a guest coming up on the last one. But yeah, for this one, write in if you have any questions or anything like that. Take a listen to a show, and if you have any questions, because it's like all about West Virginia lore and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you have any questions about that, please write us in, tweet at us. That way we can ask him live on the show.
Indeed. Yeah, we finished Resident Evil 2 last weekend. It was super fun.
We survived.
We did. It was very, very scary. Yes. But we did it, and I was proud of us. And I guess this weekend we're going to start Dead Space. Is that?
I was asking if that's what you wanted to do.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Awesome. Sunday. At 4 p.m. Right here.
Eastern time.
On twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. Dead Space.
This is what happens when Vendor's not here. We just fall apart.
Yeah, the stream will reflect our shows. It's going to be Dead Space. No.
Dead Space. I'm really excited. I love Dead Space, and
me too.
And when we get to Dead Space 2, maybe I'll drive for that one.
Those games don't exist.
I've never played Dead Space 2.
Those Dead Space 2 and 3 don't exist.
Well, we don't have to play 3, but I really want to play Dead Space 2, and it might go better.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear much about Dead Space 2. It would be interesting to see it.
It's good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I think 3's the only one that wasn't good.
3's terrible. I played 5 minutes of it and was like, oh, good, it's a cover-based shooter. I'm done.
We can do some more research to determine for sure, but I'm pretty sure that 2 is still good.
That would be fun. Did you beat Dead Space 1?
I did. It took me years to get through Dead Space because I would get so scared and I would have to stop. So
this would be fun.
Yes.
Because I became a master at dismemberment.
Yes, that's the best part. You can shoot their legs out from under them, and
I just do what I usually do in real life, and it worked out for me just fine. So anyway, what?
Nothing. It's gonna be so good. I'm really excited.
Bone dice. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to tweet at the show those questions for Dave for next episode, you can tweet us at That Fallout Show. You can tweet at the network at We Just Love Games. You can tweet at me, moi, at Rick McVick. You can tweet at Shalene at Shalene L, and you can tweet at Vendortron at VendortronIn. You can find our show on Facebook as well at facebook.com/thatfalloutshoe. That Facebook.
That Fallout Shoe? Is that our new merch line
shoe.
Coming out? That Fallout Shoe?
Fine. You know what, Shalene? I will talk articulately like you. You can also find our show at facebook.com/gwoops/thatfalloutshow. And facebook.com/We Just Love Games, and also .com/group/We Just Love Games. You can email.
You're the worst.
I know. You also can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/We Just Love Games, and also here on Twitch, twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. You can find our show on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and also on Spotify. Getting a lot of listeners there, so thank you very much for those of you checking us out on Spotify. If you leave us a review on iTunes, click the little 5-star, not 4, not 6, and leave some texties. We will shout you out at the beginning of the show like we did our lovely reviewers this time. We record every Friday night. This particular show we record live every other Friday night at 6:30 Mountain Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry. I'm just so used to it being Standard Time here at Twitch. And check out our other show, Game Stack, and also other streams that we do, like this Sunday at 4 p.m., the start of Dead Space on our Ghouls, Guts, Goblins, Ghouls, Guts. I can never remember the 3 Gs.
Me either, but it's Survival Horror Sundays.
Survival Horror. Oh, that's great too. That's great too. Survival Horror Sundays. I might have to get him to change that bit, because that'd be great. I like that name. It's easy to remember. Survival Horror Sundays. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. And Shalene, do we have a last word?
Oh, I forgot about this part of the podcast.
Well, now we're going to wait until Shalene figures out a last word. Come on. Come on.
Let's see here. We're gonna go with Vault Tech calling.